The latest Bollywood film, Mrs. Chatterjee, has ignited a global debate. And it's not just about movies, it has put Norway in a tight spot. With its invasive child protection policies now being compared to state sanctioned child abduction. This film turns the spotlight on the state of custody cases in the West, which includes United States as well. Similarly, here in Texas, while other parents enjoy the simple joys of playing with their children in the comfort of their homes, there is a Houston couple who can only wonder where their 5 kids are. Anthony Dennison, father of these 5 children, talks about his ordeal and claims that it is indescribable. In official documents, CPS, Child Protective Services, states the reason for taking the couple's children is failure to provide a safe environment. The father, Anthony Dennison, claims that there was a family disturbance, and after that, the couple never saw their kids again. The incident happened when their oldest child was just 8 years old, followed by their 2-year-old, another 1-year-old, and 6 weeks old twins. All are now in CPS custody. The couple openly admits to facing financial hardships. They were living with relatives but insisted that they provided a roof over their kids' heads, kept them fed and clothed. The couple claims that it just was not good enough for CPS. Surprisingly, neither parent has been accused of mistreating their children, yet their parental rights have been terminated. Now, the couple fears that if CPS gets its way, their children may never live with them or any relatives ever again. Many years have passed and the children are growing up in the foster care system, while their parents continue to wait for any positive development. For this family, the journey is far from over, and the hope of being reunited with their children remains a distant dream. And today in our show, we have got Mr. Anthony Dennison with us. We are going to talk about the case number 2018-37155. It's related to his 5 children, and it is related with the CPS and how he has not been able to see his kids. Thank you, Anthony, for joining me in my show today.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us from the beginning what exactly happened.
Well, we were basically arrested on false charges. And upon being released, I got notified that my 5 children were walking down the street, allegedly.
So where were you at that point?
We were placed in jail.
You were placed in jail?
Yes, we were placed in jail under arrest, dealing with charges.
But what exactly happened? When the kids were taken by the law enforcement officers, where were both of you? The father and the mother?
We were in custody. We never saw our kids get taken into custody.
So what exactly happened? Why were you taken in custody?
I was taken into custody because I allegedly assaulted someone in the house.
And who was that?
My sister-in-law.
Okay. So
somebody that was supposed to be watching the kids where I was taken into custody. So upon me going to jail, that's when my wife came behind me.
Okay.
And she was charged with child endangerment and an assault as well.
Okay.
So allegedly, I'm jumping on the feet, her sister, and she jumped on the boyfriend. Okay. So this was the dispute in the house.
So there was a dispute in the house.
Allegedly.
Alleged. So you think there was no dispute like that?
No, nobody got assaulted.
So who called the police?
I'm not sure. I'm still trying to find out because the Attorney General has actually locked my 911 slips. So I can't even get a report of what really happened that day because they actually tried to charge me with a felony that day.
So you have any felony charges right now in you?
No, ma'am. I have no felony charges.
So what kind of charges do you have on you right now?
They charged me with a felony, but it's on deferred, which means upon me completing the probation or whatever, they're going to dismiss and drop it.
So how long will it take for those charges to be dismissed?
It took almost 3 years right now. I've been on this for about 3 years.
Because this case happened in
The case has been
2019.
going on for almost
Yeah.
3 years.
So what was the month in 2019 when this case happened?
August.
It was August.
Yes, ma'am.
But tell me, Anthony, was there any kind of issue at home which you don't remember taking part in?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We were basically caregiving for my wife's mother because her father had passed and things like that.
Okay.
And her sister has a mental health history.
Okay.
And she has an alcohol history.
Okay.
So when all of this pre-pandemic stuff went on, it was some kind of attack on men and all of this. She was divorced. She was over there sad about
Are you
whatever.
in talking terms with her still?
No.
So
she used to have no
basically,
contact.
something happened within the family. It's kind of a domestic dispute. That triggered this situation over here.
I'm not sure what triggered the situation. All I know is the police showed up and they placed me under arrest and said that I had a warrant.
Oh,
So I was supposedly had a warrant for one of the guys in my car having some CBD material type deal, okay? So when we got pulled over, I had told Sarge, I said, hey, these guys ride to work with me every day. I pick them up. They know not to have no drugs or nothing in my car. Everybody know I have kids. We know each other. You know, we're pretty close, and they're Hispanics, okay? So there is no black, white, Mexican. We all know each other.
yeah, you guys are all.
So I was able to tell Sarge, I said, Sarge, these guys ride with me on regular. They shouldn't have none. If they do, hey, take them, because it don't have nothing to do with me.
Okay.
Sarge released us and said, it's nothing we're going to do. It's CBD.
Okay.
They got a dog.
But was it banned in state of Texas at that point?
No, ma'am. It was legal. He bought it at the gas station, basically. Yes, some stuff at the gas station is what the guy had on him, okay? So Sarge,
That cannot put charges on.
they could never charge me, Miss Sophie, or nobody in the car.
Okay.
So Sarge said, well, hey, Anthony, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let y'all go.
Okay.
And if something comes back on it, we're going to send out the warrants.
Okay.
No warrants never went out on nobody. So we're still trying to figure out where this warrant came from. So when the police showed up this day, he said, hey, Anthony, you got a warrant. And I said, how do I have a warrant? He said, man, you got something about synthetic marijuana. I said, well, okay.
Okay. What about your wife? So what are the charges on her?
She didn't have anything on her at the time.
Okay.
And so they took me originally for the synthetic marijuana charge.
Okay.
When I got there, that's when all of a sudden I had assaulted somebody popped up. So I went through probable cause court 3 times. You're going to go through probable cause once, Ms. Sophie. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the court system, but when you go through that booking, they have one time to show probable cause.
Okay.
If they don't have a probable cause, they have to release you.
They have to release you?
Now, I went through probable cause 3 times. The 3rd time of me coming out, my wife was sitting in the booking.
Okay.
So I said, well, hey, babe, what's going on? She said, well, the police jumped on me, and I had the baby in my arm, and my sister's boyfriend tried to come in the house after all this confusion went on, and he forced himself into the house.
Okay.
So when she slammed the door on him or kept him from coming in, they wanted to charge her with assault all of a sudden.
Okay.
So I said, well, okay, that's fine. So the kids at home with mom and your sister, she said, yes. I said, okay, fine. I just made bond. I'm going home to get the kids. I'm waiting on you. We go home, whatever.
Okay. Yeah. You wanted to get back to your normal life.
We were just getting back home, whatever, right? So as we getting ready to get released, I called home to tell mother-in-law, hey, I don't know what's going on, but at the end of the day, sister and the boyfriend's in there tripping, and we'll leave. You know, whatever, just give us some time to get home from the jail.
Home. It was your mother-in-law.
It was my mother-in-law's home.
And you were staying there at that point.
Absolutely, because
So
she
were you
gave
working
us
with
the
somebody?
House. Huh?
Were you working with somebody at that point, or you were jobless?
No, I was employed at the time.
You were employed at
Yes,
that time.
ma'am.
And was your wife working somewhere?
Yes.
And she was employed full-time as
yes,
well?
we were both. She was working at home, And I was supposed to be working at home, but I kept doing my day job. So, but we were both originally working at home for Apple.
Okay.
So before this charge popped up and this background popped up, I was supposed to be working for Apple with her as well.
Okay. That's fine. But I don't know much of the history of these cases, but how did it trickle down to the fact like the kids were taken away?
Because while we were in jail, they were allegedly found walking down the street by themselves. 5 little babies.
Allegedly?
This was the
5
story.
children walking down the street?
Just walking down the street by themselves.
When do you remember anything like that?
No, ma'am. I don't see. And then how the front door is set up, there's a key you have to stick in, so the kids can't just unlock the door. So they didn't just get out the door and just start walking down the street. Something really happened with those adults and those kids at that house, and it had nothing to do with us. So
because you guys were both
because we were in custody, somebody was playing in our background, basically.
And then they basically pushed the kids out and they
pushed
started
the
walking.
kids. Yes.
Wow.
So in the event that that's what happened, right? Grandma and their sister was supposed to go to jail for the neglectful supervision and child endangerment because those kids could have ran out in the street, they could have got hit by a car, or they could have really got snatched.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, for them to sit there and act like, oh, well, no, we're not going to prosecute them and all that, but you're talking to me about it, we have a problem.
Yeah.
So
why you think the officers didn't prosecute them?
I think the whole thing was set up. Well, I know it was set up. But at the time, I didn't know because I was still piecing it together. Wasn't nothing making sense. CPS know they couldn't mess with me. CPS knew they couldn't mess with my wife.
So what happened exactly in the middle then?
They basically took the kids into custody.
Okay.
When we got released, we called and we said, well, hey, I'm not sure what happened. I just found out the grandma had something going on.
Okay, yeah.
This is Dad.
There's a family disturbance whatsoever,
yes.
and this happened.
This is Dad. Mom's right here. We need you to bring our kids to us.
Okay.
Because we had to be back in court the next morning.
Okay.
So in the event, if you don't go to court the next morning when they release you like that, they put a warrant back out for you. And then you have to go back to jail and you might not get out, right? So we explained that to CPS, like, hey, meet us over here. We're going to take our kids to daycare. We're going to go on to court and we'll be okay. We'll figure out what was going on with Grandma.
Yeah.
Because something's going on with Grandma evidently, right? So she was like, well, I'll meet y'all over in the morning and I'll bring the kids to the daycare. I said, they have extra clothes there. They have extra food there. They got extra diapers there. Everybody should be okay until we get out of court. This is a crisis. This is an emergency, it sounds like. So she was like, well, we're just going to go to court. And I said, why would we go to court, man, when you can just give me my kids? That doesn't make sense. So we went to court and the associate judge was there. And I clearly explained to him, I said, sir, I don't care what they're talking about. My kids are not supposed to be in foster care. And I got family in a whole nother state that they can go to.
They can go to, exactly. That's the point. Let me just take a very short break right here. And from here, we're going to take up the story again.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
The Made to Move sales event at Big Star Cadillac is all about the savings. Enjoy 1.9% APR financing on all 2023 and 2024 Cadillac CT4 and CT5 sedans and all 2023 and 2024 XT4, XT5, and XT6 crossovers. Lower your payment with 1.9% APR limited term financing at Houston's Cadillac to your door dealer, Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop at Big Star. Shop BigStarCadillac.com.
Hey.
If you love me enough to tolerate
my perfect little pets in all their glorious dander, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat. Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back. Mr. Anthony Dennison's story stopped at the point when he mentioned that his kids, okay, if he was in jail and his wife was in jail, they could have gone to any other family member in another state. What happened after that? He's going to tell us. So what happened after that? Then when you went to the CPS and they said they have to go to the court, so you told them, well, there is another family in the other state. Why don't you send it to them? What did they say?
They actually refused to, and they said, well, we're going to wait on the main judge, Miss Gloria Lopez.
Okay.
I said, well, okay, we'll talk to Miss Lopez. But
Okay,
as far as I'm concerned, today my kids have been kidnapped. Now, when I say kidnapped, how they came into custody under the Texas Family Code 161, how they came into custody with them not being our fault, they had 6 days to place these kids with family, their parents, whoever they can go to, right? Not that they go to foster care.
Okay.
So they never
comes the
qualified.
foster care.
They never qualified to go to foster care.
So the grandmother was your wife's
Mother, yes.
How about your parents?
My parents is deceased.
Okay, they're deceased. So do
Yes,
you have
but I
any
have
sisters,
family.
siblings?
No, but I have family in another state.
Okay.
So at
Like
the
a
end of
sister,
no, I have a lot
Cousins?
of cousins, aunts, uncles,
aunts and uncles.
a lot of pre-adopted aunts and uncles.
Okay,
Because they've adopted kids before. So my kids were good if they needed to go anywhere.
Anywhere they could have gone to their family.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. They could have went to California. They could have went to Georgia. They could have went to Michigan.
Okay.
Or they could have went to Alabama.
So why foster family came in? What do you think it happened?
They were collecting the foster care funds.
So you think in state of Texas, the kids are...
There's funding for foster kids to sit in foster care. So at the end of the day, I think it's about a month or about a week, but the foster parents collect an incentive and then CPS collects an incentive.
That's a big accusation for accusing the
I have
state.
the proof.
So
I
you
have the proof. Absolutely. And it's under the Safe Family Cares Act bill. It's a bill that Bill Clinton basically put into effect with Hillary.
Okay.
So I understand it's deep and serious. This is actually what they're doing, because it was never about whether I was a bad dad or whether I was poor, because according to the rules, even if I was poor, you still couldn't take my kids.
So so because you were poor and you couldn't afford to have kids, you think they were given in the CPS custody.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I think.
And then did you protest against it?
Absolutely.
So what did the judge say?
So the judge actually released the kids after I filed judicial complaints on the judge, because that court I have a court order in their court that says I'm dismissed with prejudice.
Okay.
So the first time that they tried to come take the kids, they tried to come take them because we were poor. And we were basically living at the motel waiting for housing.
Oh.
So that's how the previous history came about. So they drug us for almost a year behind that. And we got ready to take it to trial, and we said, let's go to trial.
Okay.
So when it was time to go to trial, the judge said, okay, no, stop, we're not doing it.
Okay.
He dismissed it, and he dismissed it without prejudice. And I said, well, Your Honor, I don't ever want to come back in here like this again, because I went on the news about it.
Yes, you did. You went on Fox News, and I've seen this story on it.
Yeah, so I said, well, hey, I don't ever want to do this again, and I'm finna leave. So they said, well, Anthony, we're going to give you housing. We're gonna support you and the kids, and
Yeah,
and
because you
Mom,
want to be with your kids.
we're gonna give you all of this resources, and we're gonna make sure that y'all are okay if you stay in Texas. I said, okay, we'll stay in Texas because my wife wanted to help her mom out because Dad had just passed.
Okay.
So that's how we ended up back at the house, helping Mom out. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? They was basically giving her the house because she had the babies and she's the baby, right?
Okay.
So that's how she ends up with the house. So when we go back to court, I'm like, we don't have anything to talk about. And according to this order, it says you couldn't touch my kids and you had to give them back to me.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about an address. It wasn't about how much money I had. It was strictly about you giving those kids back to the rightful owners. But they saw a set of twins, boy and girl. They saw 2 girls, and they saw a little baby boy. So at the end of the day, they saw healthy, happy, and CPS language, adoptable kids.
Okay.
So somebody wanted some black kids, somebody wanted some boys, somebody wanted some girls, because now the pandemic coming up, right?
Yes.
Oh, and if I'm a mother or if I'm a father and I'm talking to my wife and all she wants is just to have a baby, but we know she can't conceive, hey, I'm finna go put $100,000 up to the adoption agency. Hey, get her a boy and shoot, you make them black if you can. And I hand the check over just like that. And then here comes CPS and the courts and the judges fighting you for your kids, something that belongs to you.
So they have taken the parental rights away?
They took my parental rights away with zero evidence.
You're a biological dad, and
I'm
the
the
wife is their
Yes,
biological.
the biological mother. We're the parents. And we have a court order that states y'all couldn't come after us or our parental rights.
So you have the court orders to have your kids back.
Yeah, I have the court order.
But the CPS is not releasing.
And then
How's that?
I have the original court order, and then I have the new court order where she actually released them and said to return these kids to Mom and Dad.
And when was that?
This was in October of 2019, October, September, October. So they had kept them for almost 2 months before we even went to court about it.
Okay.
So it ain't supposed to go that long because after 30 days,
Yeah.
CPS has to close that case out or do what they're going to do, right? So it was already fraud going on when they kept them for 2 months before we even got a chance to see this judge.
So basically, having kids in the foster care starts paying the.
They were collecting the money.
money.
Yes. Yes.
It's all about the money.
It's all about the money.
Okay,
So
so
now
you-
nobody had no mental health issues or anything, right? They put my 6-year-old daughter in West Oaks Hospital, a mental health hospital, and put her on adult medication and said that she had something wrong with her.
How did
So
you
they
find
could
this out?
collect additional funds.
How did you find this out?
I'm the investigator and I'm a dad. So at the end of the day, I know
So
exactly.
you're fighting as a dad against the system.
As a
to get
dad,
your
as
kids
a
back.
cop, as a citizen, everything I can. Because if I go left, they're not going to tell the truth. So that's why I'm here today to tell the truth. Hey, let me say what happened. Because after this, it's strictly ran into a federal jurisdiction because FBI has to get involved. Local police don't want to investigate it. Texas Rangers don't want to investigate it. They all want to protect this judge when she's over there committing terroristic acts.
No, but she has already given the order to give you.
She
your
gave
kids
the
back.
order, yeah, but
So then what happened after that?
so she turned around and wrote another order for CPS to keep them.
Because somebody must have convinced her that these are not fit parents, probably.
But nothing changed, Miss Sophie.
So did you file a petition? Did your attorneys file a petition? I mean, I know this all costs money. This is just not easy.
They never filed, our attorneys never filed anything. So that's what made it so weird. Like, why would y'all not file anything? You see what I'm saying? So it made it look like we lost, but we won. They couldn't even touch us from day one.
Wow.
So
And you haven't seen your children for how long now?
since 2020 of February or January. What year is this?
They are almost at the
Yes.
This is almost mid of August when you're recording this
Of
show.
2023.
You haven't seen your children.
And I haven't seen my kids because I called the cops and went with my court order that says they're not supposed to have them.
How about your wife? How is she dealing with it?
She's holding up, but I know she's hurt. She's hurt. But we have a new daughter now. So she keeps us going, she keeps us positive, and Dad is steady digging, and Dad is steady researching, and I'm begging FBI to go get involved. I'm begging them. And I don't know what's going on, why they don't feel like they need to help my family, but I'm begging them to go get mine. Because if I go get them, it ain't guaranteed Dad going home after that.
So you haven't seen your children. Did you try to get in touch with Texas State or at the state
Right
level?
now, I'm working with the governor's office.
Yes.
I'm working with the Office of Inspector Generals. I've been through every channel there is. They're all sitting there covering this up. I don't even know if they're looking at it for real, because there's no way you see 5 kids got possession taken of them, and you don't see, hey, well, Dad was a drunk or Dad is broke.
So you have a new daughter, so you adopted her or you're fostering her?
No, we conceived another.
Oh, you conceived another.
Yeah, we had another one.
Okay.
Yes, but see, Texas does not have jurisdiction over her.
This is, in my knowledge, so you can have another kids, that's okay, but they have taken the older ones and you're not a fit parent.
We're not, according to the rules, you're not supposed to, because they was trying to act like they can come take her. But what they didn't want to do was, they didn't want to open that investigation up, because Daddy already hollering, hey, you kidnapped them 5, what you finna do with this one?
Because Linda Nuno told me that you were protesting in front of Texas State Capitol, and you were protesting for your children, and that's how the story came up, and she found out, and that's how I found out as well.
Yes.
So
because we're trying to get
you're
off
trying
the-
to, basically what you're trying to do is trying to fight the red tape.
Yes, and we're trying to get them to understand that you're a state employee. You have a job to do. Anytime that you misuse that or you don't do your job, we need to find somebody else and you can go home. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. Now, with Child Protective Services, when you don't do your job, you're injuring a child, you've kidnapped somebody's child, and you're sitting there collecting money off of it, which made it trafficking.
Yeah.
So when you don't do your job with CPS, it's a little bit different than being at McDonald's and not putting cheese on the hamburger, right? We
You're
can go
playing
back,
with people's lives.
yeah, we can go back and put the cheese on the hamburger and remake the hamburger. You can't give me those lives back. You
That
can't
time
give
back
me
with your
you
children.
can't give me yesterday back. So there's no mistakes to be made. You have to know that you're right when you're doing what you're doing. So that's why I'm fighting, because this was a straight gross negligence on their part, because who checked their paperwork? Who said that this was okay? So when I looked at the paperwork, I caught them fraudulating my drug test. So now all of a sudden they didn't have nothing on Dad, so they had to get something on Dad. So now all of a sudden they say I'm on drugs now, and this is why they gotta take my children. But I went and got 3 more tests, Miss Sophie.
And nothing came
It
out.
says that test is a lie,
Wow.
and they're contracted with the courts. So they're being paid to make these results go in a certain way.
So there is basically, you have been moving since 2019 in circles and circles and circles.
Yes.
And nothing has come
And I've ran the course on them,
and on them.
and they're done.
Thank you so much, Anthony, for joining me today.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
understand that there is a legalities involved in this case, but as a father, as a parent, as a caretaker, and somebody who loves his children, you had the courage to come and talk about this case because it matters.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm looking forward to helping other families. I've started a Facebook group called Traffic by the Courts. So any families that may have this going on, because they're knocking on people's doors, and these people are thinking they've been bad parents, and they're not. They're just trying to grab your kids and go make money off of them. So I started this group to make sure anybody need help, hey, we're here, and we're not going to stop until we get them to pump their brakes.
Thank you so much, Anthony, for joining me today.
Yes, ma'am.
The heart of the matter lies in the question, does CPS need reforms? How can more resources be allocated to address the problems that biological families face before placing the child in foster care? Removing a child should only be a last resort, such as when a family struggles with drug problems or faces violence. It's a call to action for viewers to stay informed, advocating for improvements in CPS practices, and work towards a system that prioritizes the best interest of the child while preserving family rights.
Thank you for watching my show with me, Sofia Jamal. Have a blessed weekend.